My name is Optimus Prime, and you're watching Tales from Teletraan. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tales from the Teletraan, and no, you are hearing my voice, yes, but no, you are not late for the show, because for the first time ever, TFT defies all logic by showing up early to the party. That's right, my princes and princesses, we are here 2 minutes early, and I hope you are having a fantastic evening, day, afternoon, 2 a.m., whenever you guys are getting to enjoy this. Thanks for coming in. And yeah, don't know what else to say except for what's up, Survive Fan Studios? What's up, man? MC DJ, and hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Little bit of news before we go into anything. I know we usually do like the 5-minute rambles, and I'm going to do a 5-minute ramble here because we usually do them on Wednesdays, but I'm going to do them here because we are 2 minutes early. But bit of breaking news here I wanted to go over and tell everybody is that if you live in the UK and England, Hasbro Pulse will be your only source for G.I. Joe going forward. That's it. No more in-demand toys, kapow, robot recruits. Nobody else except for Hasbro Pulse, if you are in the UK, will be carrying G.I. Joe. That sucks. I'm sorry. I feel so bad for all you guys over in the UK. I mean, hell, I feel sorry for anyone who collects G.I. Joe Classified right now, who still have figures on pre-order from 2021. And yeah, but breaking news on that one. And I see Survive Fan Studios is talking about all the Transformers news that happened earlier today at the Japanese Toy Expo. I will definitely cover all of that on Wednesday for sure, but I just wanted to hit everybody up with the G.I. Joe news who might be affected by that. That's all I got. That's as far as news goes. Yeah, I think it's a low down, dirty shame that that's the case for G.I. Joe. MC DJ says, holy cow, I can only imagine if you were 5 minutes early. Brought the thunder or brought the heat. Right, just a little bit. Survive Fan says, I'm in the USA and I don't do G.I. Joe. All right. What's up with the Joe news and why, says MC DJ. Just because I know there are people out there who collect G.I. Joe, that watch the channel, that watch TFT, that watch, and I just wanted to let them know over in the UK that, I don't know, it's not right. I don't think it's right, but I just wanted to let everybody know that collects G.I. Joe. So yeah, that's it right there. So now that we've hit about the 3.5 minute mark, we're starting to see some people stumbling in.
Slowly and surely.
MC DJ says, my bad, like, why is it happening? I could only take guesses, and my guess is that Classified just probably doesn't sell that well over there, or G.I. Joe just doesn't sell that well over there, and they're probably trying to increase their profit margin on it, and that's the best thing that's the only thing I can think of. Because if you think about it, if they sell figures to, say, Kapow or Walmart or whatever toy store or whatever it is they have over in the UK, they buy them and they get a discount, right? So if they buy like 15,000 figures, they get a discount, and then they turn around and sell them for $24.99. But if they put them up on Hasbro Pulse, Hasbro gets the full $24.99, not the $19.99 for each figure that they would get from, say, Target or something like that. That's my only guess. is that they're possibly trying to make sure the brand survives, possibly out of some sort of necessary corporate greed. Man, that's about all I got. Certainly appreciate the Joe news. Absolutely. Let's see. Just 5 says, I'm sorry I had to spoil Wednesday's news. I had no idea if you were mentioning it here or not. That was very recent. No problem, man. No, don't even worry about it. But yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be talking about it. MC DJ says, sadly, always money over fans. I 100% agree. And that will lead us into our topic. Well, that's actually the topic for this week's episode.
Certainly is.
Toy corporations and their how, basically their greed of how greedy they've become and all that stuff. And also this week we are introducing the brand new topic or segment of suggested movies for the week. We're supposed to do it last week, but we're doing it this week. So we've got
and I promise to behave.
Yeah. So we've got movies from me, movies from Oracle, and what's up, Big M? Hope you're doing all right. And now with all of that said, I rambled on for 6.5 minutes, and I still haven't done a proper introduction. So with that said, welcome everyone to Tales from Teletraan. I am your host, your most sensational, humble host, who's the same shit as a ghost. That's right, I am the N-PUT because it's me, mobbing once again with the Oracle of Dreams, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening, baby. So,
it is a Friday, and a very welcome Friday at that, after a really stressful work week for me, so I'm glad to be here. That's all I have to say. Input knows how stressed out I've been the last couple days, so I'm very much looking forward to possibly going yarn shopping with my mom tomorrow and getting stuff to make more pot holders. To crochet pot holders. So woohoo!
So my fan says, does this have to also do with QC and high prices?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the topic? Yeah, we're talking all of it, man. And
Mattel and Hasbro
and I seen, here's the thing, like I was just gonna let everything kind of slide, and because the HasLab Ghost Rider thing, but there's something, Mattel did something today, maybe it was like yesterday or something, that I was like, oh my god, okay, this is getting way out of hand. This needs to be talked about, right?
Like stuff that I've been mentioning through the Monster High community. So
right. And Big M says TGIF. Thank God it's a Friday, but it's Friday without a full house, with a family that matters.
Everybody in the back, Sorry, I just took us back to like 2008.
Oh well, I was gonna make a Fergie joke. It's so 2008, and you're so 2000 and late. But anyway, so we got movies to talk about, and what are your 3 suggested movies for the week, Oracle? What do you bring in the people, man?
All right, why don't we just do this back and forth? I name one, you name one, and I have a check mark here. I'll keep track, since I made my list today at lunch. I'll keep track, so we'll know who. Hold on, let's put an N and an O. And you want me to start first? I'm gonna switch that around. Sorry.
Absolutely, so, ladies first.
I will go first, and I promised Input I'd be very, very nice, because I watch a lot of foreign films, art pop, art style, avant-garde foreign films, and I know he's tired of them. Absolutely tired of them. So, with that being said, I'm not going to subjugate you to my favorite 80,000 art films from various places within Europe. So I'm going to narrow it down to one a week, and I made a point to make it only one this week. I could have done 2, but I made it 1, so you're welcome, Input.
Please don't be Albany. Almany. Please don't be
Amelie? No, I
Yes.
promise you I wouldn't mention that. So,
Okay.
even though it's one of my favorite movies of all time,
Okay.
I will mention other Audrey Tautou movies, though. Anyway, the first movie is Alice by Jan Beckmeyer. Quick synopsis. This is a stop motion Alice in Wonderland film by Czechoslovakian director Jan Beckmeyer. And if you like skeletons and toys and live action little girls and taxidermed animals, then this is the movie for you.
Oh, that's a fantastic movie. And I will say that everything in that movie is stop motion, and the taxidermy animals are the stop motion puppets. It is a wild ride, dude. It is creepy as all get out.
Do not watch when you're under the influence of anything. I promise me, you will not watch while under the influence. It is a trippy movie, but it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, dude, don't drop acid and go watch this movie. That's like, don't do anything like that. So let's see. You're gonna say the Alice. I am going to go with Better Luck Tomorrow. If you guys like the Fast and the Furious movies, then I forgot the Asian character's name in Tokyo Drift, and he's part of the crew, right? Han. It's the actor who plays Han, and it's kind of viewed as Han's origin movie. Well, it was before, the Fast and the Furious movies continued. But Better Luck Tomorrow, it's an MTV movie films, and it came out in like 2002 or 3 or something like that. Really, really decent, really cool movie. But yeah, go ahead. What's your next one?
Input will agree with me on this movie. It's called Sydney White with Amanda Bynes.
Yes.
A retelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, aka the Seven Dorks. Really good movie, a lot of fun. Go watch it.
And I'm going to reach back just a little bit, and I'm gonna go with I'm gonna pick She's All That. That's on Netflix
one of my
right
favorite
now.
movies.
That's on Netflix right now. I love that movie. I saw that movie in theaters when I was a kid. Me and Mom, I was like 12 or so when that movie came out. Loved it then.
None the richer. I mean, come on, the soundtrack is awesome. Introduction of Paul Walker.
Yes, that is true.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Fast and the Furious characters.
All right. My next movie is, and everybody knows what this is, they're getting an Amazon Prime TV show, A League of Their Own. I have Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Tank Girl, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, come on.
Yeah, definitely. And my last suggestion, if you guys have not seen it, I don't know why you haven't, but I'm going 2012 Dread. Fantastic Judge Dredd movie. You'll love it. If you haven't seen it, you will absolutely love it, especially when he says his infamous "I am the law" catchphrase. It just hits so good because there are so many points in that movie where he could have said it. And then when he finally says it, you're like, oh, yeah, that's the perfect time right there. So good. Also, the chick who plays Cersei, or Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Leanna Headley.
Yep, her. She's also the main villain in the movie as well. And she does a phenomenal job playing off the actor for Dredd. Just great movie.
Or is it Lena Headley? I might have pronounced your name wrong.
Yet. So we got our list right here. In the chat, we've got Alice, Better Luck Tomorrow, Sydney White, She's All That, A League of Her Own, and Dread 2012. And just to be a little kinky with it, go watch the Sylvester Stallone Dread either before or after that one as well. But yeah, fantastic movies right here that we suggest, and Dread's fantastic. Survive Fan says, I grew up with Thomas and the Magic Railroad from 2000 with late actor Peter Fonda, Mary Wilson, and Alec Baldwin. I love The Country Bears and Treasure Planet as well. Treasure Planet is a fantastic movie.
Love Treasure Planet.
Yes, and it wasn't that
It was based on Treasure Island.
No, I know that, but what's his name? I'm trying to.
Oh,
The guy who did Dragon's Lair and Space Ace and
Oh, are you talking about Don
Don
Bluth?
Bluth. Don Bluth. Isn't that a Don Bluth? The Treasure Planet? That's Don Bluth as well.
I don't think it's a Don Bluth movie. It is produced by, I'm pulling it up right now. Everything just froze. Of course it did. Emma
I might be
Thompson's
thinking of
in there.
something else. I might be thinking
No,
of
it was
something
Ron
else.
Clements and John Musker. It was a Disney movie.
Okay, then what was the Don Bluth equivalent of that? Because that came out, the Don Bluth one came out in like 2000 as well, and had like the blonde kid, and the kid had glasses and stuff.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's with Bill Pullman, Matt Damon, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Anyway, Don.
gosh, I know which one. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I will remember it halfway through this.
Well, when you remember
Titan AE.
Titan AE, that's it. Yes. Titan AE. I love Titan AE as well. I don't know why, but I always get them mixed up. I guess because
they came out at the exact same time, because I remember us getting the opportunity to see Treasure Planet or Titan AE, and we decided to go with Titan AE.
Okay, I got you. Then that's why I get them mixed up. But I do like both of those movies. Both of them just hit really, really well.
Mm-hmm. There goes another one off the list that we've mentioned. No, and you know what also came out around the same time, maybe a few years before, Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah. That was a good movie too. Like anything that had anything to do with the Muppets, still to this day, anything that has anything to do with the Muppets is fantastic. But that leads us into this week's episode review of Transformers The Headmasters. Episode, I think it's like episode
something
13, I think it is. The Dormant Volcano Mysteriously Erupts. Okay. So that is what the episode that we're going to talk about here. And my favorite thing about this episode, it is a filler episode, but again, what Headmasters does in these episodes that are all filler so well is character development. And it's done through like little bitty actions. It's done through just certain different things that you see throughout the episode. So we got right here, Dormant Volcano Mysteriously Eruption. So we see that all the tectonic plates and all this stuff are shifting. There's a bunch of earthquakes that keep happening, and all of them are leading back to this volcano about to explode. And that's the Autobot computer screen that you see right there. So then from that, it ends up cutting to humans in a village.
In the city of Pan, I might mention, which is also Spanish for bread, which I was laughing my butt off in the bus over.
It's Spanish for what?
Bread.
Bread. Okay. Real quick, what's up, Blue Raccoon, man? Hope you're doing all right, buddy. He says, I missed a lot before. Nah, you're good. So yeah, they show up. Well, then you see the village, and then you see a boy and his donkey. Right? Like a boy and his donkey.
Not the girl.
Yeah, not the girl. That's his sister. But a boy and his donkey, they're playing and stuff, and they're roughhousing. And then right here, the girl, his sister, is saying, hey, don't roughhouse with the donkey. You're going to mess up your clothes. And he's just like, whatever, sister. And then they start to feel the plates, the tectonic plates are shifting. The earthquakes are coming. Volcano's about to explode. And yeah, the Decepticons are in they're on Char, and they're, long story short, to kind of ruin the big surprise of the episode, it's the Decepticons' fault why the volcano exploded. They did it from Char, basically as a distraction to distract the Autobots to get them out of the city once again. But the Autobots are basically, they got to be the good guys. So Twincast sends out Steel John Ramhorn and says, dude, go figure this out. Go spy on the Decepticons. And basically you see kind of a repeat here, just kind of flip-flop. So basically, earlier when you saw the Decepticons sending Ratbat out there and doing all that stuff, the Autobots do the reverse and send their cassette tape spies to go spy on the Decepticons. Then you also see the beasts that are actually building Zarak here. And what's really cool about this scene is there is a complete shift in Octane here. If you guys remember way back in Tales from Teletraan, when we were talking about when we were talking about season 3 and we were talking about Octane and how just he seemed like he didn't care about the Decepticon cause and he was just so polite and so caring and just kind of not really a Decepticon. You see the exact opposite here. That Energon whip is being cracked over the head by Octane. He is, like I said, it's little things in this episode that build up this character development. And Survive Fan is asking, Battle Beast? Yes, 100% Battle Beast. Battle Beasts are being used by Zarak to create his body. The big giant Scorponok body. And like I said, it's not much here. The scene doesn't last too long. The animation here doesn't last very long. It's maybe 10 seconds, but you get to see Octane from the Japanese side. And you get to see that version of Octane. And I absolutely love how brutal he is here because I love the contrast between Japanese Octane and American Octane here. So absolutely love that. So from here, you cut back to the village and there's the donkeys, there's the kids. Haven't seen the volcano erupt yet. And it's just character development here, just kind of filling the time here before anything really starts to happen. The Predacons end up basically saying, hey, we're going to go distract everybody. And that's why you see Raiden right here. Raiden on the way to go fight Predaking. And there we go. That's them arriving. And I want to say something about Razor Claw's design here. Is that I love how Razor Claw, the leader of the Predacons in this episode, he's got this metallic, like, aqua green face. Like, his faceplate is like that aqua green. His eyes are that aqua green. Just really, really cool design. And I really do wish that it carried over to Predaking. Maybe his mask, maybe his eyes, something like that in that design carried over to Predaking. So much so that I was actually thinking about customizing my Power of the Primes Predaking to give him one of, the aqua of either faceplate or the eyes. But anyway, either way. So here we got the Raiden and Predaking battle. Raiden is massive because here we are 1-to-1. He's 1-to-1 with Predaking, and he's standing his own. Raiden is a very powerful combiner. And he's going toe-to-toe with Predaking and not even hesitating, not slowing down. And throughout the fight, you see they're throwing like karate chops at each other, and they're kicking the crap out of each other. Then we get Defensor and the Protectobots showing up to save the day. And they end up just being completely useless because they form Defensor, and then Mind Wipe just stuns them with a gun, and they fall. They hit a rock, and there you go. They break apart. I mean, Defensor was used for all of 6 seconds here.
Several seconds.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of surreal because I felt bad. I felt bad for Defensor, and I was like, oh man, no love. Defensor gets no love here at all.
All he was trying to do was help save the people from the lava.
Right, absolutely. That's all he wanted to do. So I mean, it's pretty harsh, man, the way they treated Defensor here. So then you end up seeing the fight kind of conclude. Ultra Magnus is kind of having like this come to Jesus moment of, should we go help? Should we not go help? But if we go, we're pretty much abandoning Autobot City, but if we don't go, we're abandoning our friends. And it's just like this. It's like 15 seconds that definitely could have been better explored without him doing that. Like it just, I don't know, it just kind of made Magnus look a bit weak, like he just doesn't know what he's doing. But he's supposed to be the city commander, right? Like he's supposed to have the trust of everybody to make these right decisions, and he's just sitting there back and forth, and it just wastes time. Real quick, Blue Raccoon says Octane went back to the cons. He was on vacation or something. I think Mindwipe had an EMP. They called it
White
a mind.
No,
Yeah,
it was a white wipe, and I laughed because it reminded me of White Snake. I read White Snake in the subtitles at first, and I had to reread it again.
yeah. So the volcano's erupting. They're trying to evacuate the city, not the city, the town, little bitty town. And they send Broadside to go help, and the headmasters, Chrome Dome and his crew, taking Broadside to go help, to evacuate. So they end up showing up, and right here we get to see Char and all that. The Autobots leaving and Laserbeak spying on them.
There's no good photos of them heading that way and trying to avoid
all the lava and stuff.
Yeah.
So to kind of fill in the blanks here, Raiden defeats Predaking. They transform into their connected train mode, and all the Autobots end up going to rescue where all this lava is and rescue the little town and stuff. That's why we see train bots here, and that's why it seems like it's out of order, but it's really not. So they get in there, and then there's like a bunch of volcanic ash in the air, and it's igniting the air because it's so hot, and it's just increasing the temperature above all of it. So the heat from the lava and the ash and stuff is igniting the atmosphere. And Brainstorm.
I want to say this. I like how they included that. And yes, I know it's in Japan, but some volcanoes are known to create an acidic atmosphere. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they included something similar to that.
Yeah, that's really cool, because I don't think we would get that kind of attention in the American show,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I think, and it's not like the bash, like the American show, say this is better than that. It's just, I just think it's a cultural thing where we don't have a whole lot of volcanoes that have erupted in America's history, right?
Mount St. Helens is outside of Mount St. Helens and the ones in Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the writers who were writing the show didn't have to live with that. But Japan, while Mount Fuji's laid dormant, let's not forget Mount Fuji's a volcano, right? So that's
alive.
Huh?
It's still alive, but it hasn't had a good explosion in a while, from my understanding. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is like that threat is constantly looming over them, right? So you get like this different kind of perspective from it. And I think it's really, really cool. So the ash. So Brainstorm here ends up doing like this propeller thing and basically sucking the heat and all of that out. And they start loading up the train bots here with all the villagers, and the lava is rushing down to them, and they're basically trying to get everybody on the train as quickly as they possibly can. And no one is holding out. No one is saying, "Oh no, my house, my stuff," and they're all getting on the train. But the lava is just traveling really, really, really fast. And the boy and his sister get on to the train, and they're like, "Hey, where's my donkey? Like, I can't leave without my donkey." And then Chrome Dome's just like, "Oh yeah, hey man, I got your donkey. I found him for you. Don't worry about
Holding him like a little chihuahua. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah. So then they end up getting all on the plane, or all on the train, planes, trains, and automobiles all packed onto one another. And they end up flying, and the village gets destroyed. absolutely destroyed. And then that's kind of like where you think the episode would end, but you realize there's still like 4 minutes left, right? It's so crazy. So the kids are like, oh man, that was our village, that was our home, that's all we've ever known. And the Autobots are like, it's cool, man, don't worry about it. You know, we're the Autobots, we're the good guys.
We'll set up an emergency FEMA type situation down the street with tents.
Right, exactly. And then the Decepticons pop up out of the trees, the Decepticon Headmasters.
Oh, well, there was a Zarak moment.
Okay, yeah, there was. Okay, well, Zarak here was talking about, and this is why it feels like the ending of the episode, right? Is like because Zarak here is talking about how his new body is being created to defeat Cerebros, or defeat Fortress, right? And it's just going on for like a good 30 seconds about the same thing over and over again. It's like, okay, cool, we got it. You're building the body to defeat Cerebros. Then so we go from that. Then the Autobot cassettes get discovered by Sound Blaster. And essentially we got a repeat here, but again, like I was saying earlier, like a vice versa kind of repeat thing here. And the Autobot tapes end up getting shot at, but they end up escaping with all of the stuff that they've recorded while they were there. Then it cuts to the Decepticon Headmasters popping up out of the trees. And what's trippy about this is
the poor donkey.
The donkey is just playing around, man, doing its thing. And then you hear it yelp. And then you see Skullcruncher stand up, and he's got this donkey by the tail.
That tail would not be. That donkey would have lost the whole tail. But in real life, that donkey would have. I have a thing for donkeys. Please understand this.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, oh. And every time I see this part, I'm always like, oh man, I'm just always like, that's so jacked up. Like, why you gotta grab him by the tail, man? Like you couldn't just like hold him in your hand a little tighter than what, you know what I mean? But okay, it's so messed up. And this is the wrongest position to be holding a donkey in, Skullcruncher. Like, for real. So anyway, so right here, then they scoop up the boy, and Weird Wolf is talking to Chrome Dome and basically says, teach us your transforming techniques, or we kill the donkey, we kill the boy, we kill the sister. It's your call. And while Chrome Dome is making up his mind, the mama donkey saves the baby donkey.
Yay, mama donkey!
So,
I'm sorry that I texted Input while I was watching this on the bus, and I said, "Yay, mama donkey to the rescue!"
Yeah. And what's funny is like we were watching the episode. I mean, we were like a minute. She was a minute behind me on the episode, and so it's like right after I saw this scene, I got the text message like a minute later. So Donkey Mommy saves Child Donkey, and I've always thought this was like the weirdest part of the episode because they're made out of like organic steel or titanium, whatever they're made out of. How hard did that donkey hit? First of all, I want to point this out. That donkey hit the spike on Skullcruncher's shin, okay? That donkey should be dead. Right?
We all know donkeys are stubborn asses, pun intended. We know that they're stubborn as fuck. We also know that they're headstrong as fuck, which is another word for stubborn. I understand this. But never, and I mean this as somebody who lives in Texas and has been around donkeys for most of her life, you do not get in between a mama donkey and her baby. Like everyone talks about bears and bear cubs, fear the donkey.
Yeah, absolutely. Like donkeys don't play, man. Donkeys will mess you up. Dude, donkeys bite too, and they bite hard.
They're the sweetest animals when you have their trust. And this is why I love donkeys, because they are probably the sweetest creatures you could ever meet once they have your trust and all that noise. But dear Lord,
so
do not piss one off.
So the Autobots then end up taking advantage of this, and Brainstorm ends up doing like this crazy like spin dive tilt-a-whirl kick thing.
The poor kid. Look at this.
Yeah, and the kid gets launched into the air. Like, it's like, damn, brainstorm, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? So he ends up getting launched, and the kid ends up getting saved, and it's like this little bitty battle conflict thing kind of in the woods, and then the Decepticon headmasters retreat, right? Like, um, so what else you got after this one, Oracle? What? Yeah, then you see the donkey, the donkey and the mama donkey kind of reuniting and stuff. And then
everyone's in awe. The whole summary of the scene was even the animals are just as strong as the humans.
Yeah, dude, it's so wild, man. It's so crazy. So I don't know. It's all around. And then you just kind of have like this feel good moment. You know, the Chrome Dome. The sister gives Chrome Dome a necklace. Is like basically the only thing that survived the fire besides the clothes on their back. And the Chrome Dome says, "Thank you. I will cherish it, basically for the rest of my life." And shakes her hand, and they basically have friends. And yeah, so then right here, the Autobots cassettes come back, and this is where they're listening to all the information that they got, and that's how the episode ends. It ends on the information that they got from the Decepticon headquarters. Very, very, very well done episode. Very cool episode, especially in the way that it's paced. Especially it's since you don't really see in cartoons, you don't really see like a false ending, and you see that twice here. You know, you kind of, the village gets destroyed, and then the Autobots are kind of there to save the day, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, everything's fine. And then the Decepticon headmasters show up, and there's still like a minute left in the episode, and you're like, whoa, okay, it's not over. So you get like two false finishes here, and that's very, very rarely done in any kind of children's cartoon. So especially, or in an anime, especially back then, that's aimed at children. So I mean, it's really, really worth the watch, because just to see all of the character development, extra character development here in the episode as well. It is a filler episode, but there is a reason to watch it, if that makes sense. I know normally filler episodes you're not supposed to watch, or you can skip filler episodes and still.
This is fun.
Yeah, it was a fun episode, and I highly recommend the episode, especially as a standalone episode. You can watch it as that if you really wanted to. Oracle, what do you think? Would you recommend it?
10 out of 10, good donkey fun. Like, honestly, this was just a fun episode to me. I was giggling like a ridiculous idiot on the bus because of the donkey. So outside of the donkey talk, this was actually a really fun episode. Lots of twists and turns. I mean, it didn't 100% keep my attention, but there were some pretty, like, the fight scenes didn't really quite keep I felt like they were a little too short and not it was like too short and not in that right middle ground. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like they were almost too sudden, and it was just a lot of conversation. So it was a little boring, but it was also a fun episode. So if this came on again, this is like big rules. If it comes back on, I'll be sitting down and watching it.
Yeah. So there you go. 2 thumbs up, Siskel and Ebert style. Going to go through chat real quick and see what you guys had to say about the episode. Survive Fan says, in the shot we're looking at with Raiden versus Predaking, either Headstrong or Tantrums have normal colors, but in the scene where you see the Predacons in the first scene, one has a black beast head. Good catch, man. Let's see. Haida says, welcome in, Haida. I didn't get to say hello when you came in. He says, the Decepticon headmasters were such wonderful idiots. I highly, highly agree. Let's see. Haida also says, in my opinion, Headmasters is strictly better than season 4, but I won't say that. Let's see. Survive Fan says season 4 didn't appear in Japan. They didn't use the rebirth in Japan. Headmasters was made instead. 100% correct. Haida then asks, are the train bots train sized or transformer train sized? It's was it the size manipulation thing? Oh God, I forgot what it's called. Take my fan card.
Suspension of disbelief is what I call it, or suspension of belief.
No, it's mass shifting. It's mass shifting. They very much mass shift 100%. Survive Fan says Transector. That's why they call the bot. That's what they call the body. The head part forms a robot character. Yep, 100% correct on that one. The reason why I describe the way the episodes I do is because we're watching the and I think I've said this before. We're watching the Shout Factory dub of Headmasters, and that's the best dub out there. But the catch is they call everybody by their American names, not their Japanese names. So I use the names interchangeably because of the way it's dubbed. Like I said, so Cerebros, you'll hear Zarak say fortress, right? He'll fortress, and you'll hear him say that, but the subtitles read Cerebros. So I use their names interchangeably that way. Let's see. Survive Fan says, "My God, that's just wrong." The donkey shot with Skull Cruncher.
It's horrible. You do not hold a donkey like that.
Blue Raccoon says, "No donkeys were harmed in the making of this video." I can 100% guarantee that.
I did text input asking, does a donkey fall into the earth or get hurt before I finish the episode?
Haida says, I'm more afraid of donkey's hooves than the ass heads. Dude, I don't blame you there. The whole phrase kick like a mule, I mean, it exists for a reason, right? So, I don't even know how to describe that. Let's see. Blue Raccoon says, I read last week Donkey spoke after her master hit her and almost killed her. Okay. Not too sure what you're talking about there, Blue Raccoon. Haida says, knowing that they're human-sized robots, it's going to be rude to make the fleshlings shake hands with transectors. Spy Fan says, a donkey that hit something like that would have killed them for sure, but they survived. That wouldn't work in real life. Yeah, absolutely not. Let's see. Survive Fan says the train bots were made in Japan according to their bio on Wiki. Yes, they were. We talked about that 2 episodes ago, or the 6-shot episode. We talked about that because they said that they wanted to defend their home, and they were on Earth when they're saying that. And the context of that conversation was that they were created in Japan. Haida says Shout probably has to use U.S. names for legal reasons. Oh, I'm 100% sure. I am 100% sure that's the reason. I
like big donkeys and I cannot. You other people can't deny. Sorry.
When a donkey walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, it gets sprung. No, I don't know why a donkey would do that. But I mean,
to be fair, Donkey and Shrek did sing that song. Yes, it was to Dragon, but still.
That is true. That is very true, and it wouldn't make sense because Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back, Ass, Donkey. Yeah, it works. Definitely works. So
okay, I think we've extended this review. I apologize because I went into Donkey freakout mode.
But absolutely watch it. Fantastic episode. They are all on YouTube also as well. And the guy who uploaded them to YouTube here recently says it's like a 1080p upscale. But I will say this, it looks a lot better. Not better. It looks a lot better than the Shout Factory releases on DVD. So it is very much, the one on YouTube is very much cleaned up and upscaled. Let's see. Survive Fan says, I can't blame you, ma'am. The jackasses were the best part. And Haida says, but.
I want to do the Simpsons reference here where he's talking to Reverend Lovejoy, but I will refrain.
So this week's topic, like I said, I was going to kind of let everything slide, not really talking about it. If you guys watched the news on Wednesday, I made the joke of the only toy channel on YouTube not talking about the Hasbro Pulse Ghost Rider or HasLab Ghost Rider. And I guess we're getting sucked into it, man. Just kind of is what it is. And it's mainly because of what Mattel did on their website. So I noticed this the other day. And by the way, the topic is we're talking about corporate greed and the backlash from fans, as far as like rising prices go for toys and their lines and everything that they've been doing, essentially to take advantage of the fans and their audience and the backlash according to it. So what really kind of, I guess, like pulled this straw out of the fist, so to speak, was Mattel has released a 4-pack of He-Man for the 40th anniversary. And it's one of each He-Man from every major He-Man show. So you have 80s He-Man Filmation style. You have the New Adventures of He-Man from the New Adventures of He-Man cartoon. You have the 2000X He-Man. And you have He-Man from the Netflix series, the non-Revelation series, all in this set. And they're all done in He-Man Origins style. So they're all done in that original He-Man toy aesthetic, right? Just the Origins line. So they're all big, they're all buff, they're all bulky. So like 2000X isn't like lean and cut and swole. He's big and buff, right? So just kind of, I don't know, kind of weird. And it comes in like this little TV box kind of thing. Real quick, Blue Croon is asking, did you see my comment on the talking donkey? I did not.
I was referring to the one that was hurt by its master.
Oh no, I did not see. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. It says I read last week. Donkey spoke after his master. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. So they're doing this 4-pack, and on their website it was released at $150 plus shipping, everything else, tax and shipping and all that. And they released on their Facebook. They announced. They said, "Hey, it's available. Go get it." And this is about maybe a week or two ago or something. And then about a week or so ago, they announced again on their Facebook that they still have some in stock. Go get it. And it's still $150. As of a couple days ago, it was $240. So out of nowhere, Mattel throws an extra $90 on this thing. And I am going to play devil's advocate here a little bit, is that this isn't the first 4-pack that they released. They did one with Filmation color Hordak and his drones and Grizzlor with the dark brown face. And yeah, and they put that up at $150 as well. And that sold out pretty quickly. And then they did this and they jacked up the price by $90. And the thing is like nobody was buying the He-Man set to begin with because, different reasons. The He-Man set, some of the He-Mans weren't accurate. Some people didn't like the sculpting on 80s He-Man's face, like the Filmation sculpting. And some people were just like, they didn't understand why they put the Netflix He-Man in there. So there wasn't a whole lot of reason or incentive for people to get this set, but they put it out anyway, and they jacked the price up to $240. And it's mind-numbing on why they would do that, because the box set isn't selling to begin with.
It's shitty as hell.
Right. And it's not selling, especially when you got to go out there and say on Facebook again and basically kind of come off like you're begging for people to buy this and then jack the price up to $240. And the only thing that I can think of is they saw Big Bad Toy Store has it up, I think, for like $250 or something like that. And so they're probably thinking, oh man, BBTS is getting $250 out of it. If we knocked it down to $240, it's still a deal for the consumer because they're saving $10, right? But I don't know. That's just super shady. It's super greedy.
And it's what's so weird about all of this is just like the quality of it all too. Like, I have my issues on a whole nother franchise of it, but Doll's going for almost the same amount of money, if not a little bit less, but still.
No, and I agree. And it's just, and that leads more into the fan backlash here. And don't worry, I'm gonna get to all of this. I'm just setting, kind of setting, I don't want to say setting the mood. I'm kind of telling you guys what's led to a lot of this here recently. Mattel also decided to do Grizzlor a couple weeks ago as a standalone figure, made to order figure. When they dropped it, I think it was like a Tuesday when they dropped it, those that they had in stock sold out. Then Mattel came back and said, hey guys, if you missed it, don't worry. We're doing a made to order one. And when they did that, people were ordering. They're like, yeah, sweet, Grizzlor, yeah. And they're so happy. They're excited. And then come to find out that since it's made to order, people are going to have to wait a year before they get their Grizzlor figure. And what aggravated me about that was you already have the tooling made because you've already made the figure. Nothing is pre-production here. You just order 10,000 more from the factory, 50,000, whatever got ordered. You just order them. And it shouldn't be a year. It should take like maybe 3 months tops, right? Like that's what I would think, because you don't have the tooling. You don't have to worry about the tooling. You don't have to worry about the sculpting. All the stuff's paid for. Just print them. So I've said this before on Tales. If you guys have watched any of the older episodes, and I've said it in my live streams, when companies do this, the money sits in the bank and it collects interest. And if you think $17, this is round up to 20, and let's just say 10,000 of them get produced, they're earning interest on all of that money that they accumulated. The HasLab, what is it? The G.I. Joe HasLab, the His Tank that funded, Hasbro made over $8 million on that toy, and now it's sitting in the bank collecting interest. Mattel is doing the same thing here with their Grizzlors. And real quick, I'm gonna check chat. See, Survive Fan says toy cars haven't changed on prices much. No, they haven't. And okay, so you guys are talking about the donkey and all that stuff. Okay. So they're collecting interest on all this stuff. And so one could argue, okay, by nature of HasLab, they're going to collect interest on it because you're essentially paying for the tooling up front. You're paying for all of this stuff to be made up front. It's, for a lack of a better term, it's a crowd fund, right? But Mattel is getting extra money from why? What? I just don't understand it. Like the corporate greed aspect of it is astounding. Go ahead.
I was just saying that's just what's so fishy to me. Why are you increasing this price from? I don't know. Sorry, I'm waiting to have the conversation. It's just like you keep setting the setting. I'm sorry.
So then here, and that all the Mattel stuff leads to fan backlash. So much so that people have either tried to cancel their orders or just bought the figure on eBay for $50, or just basically found a way to get a hold of Grizzlor. And okay, then we see with HasLab announces the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider thing. and they call it the Hell Charger. Okay, well, it's called the Hell Charger in the comics, but it's called the Vehicle of Vengeance. I think it is. That's what HasLab is calling it. HasLab is charging $350, and I saw everybody stupidly excited when this whole thing started. Okay, I went back and I watched the live stream and the HasLab announcement live stream. Went back, watched that, and everyone, you can see the comments. Oh man, this is so exciting! Da da da. Then they hit you with the price, $350, and then the crowd turned on the play, so to speak, right? And everybody in chat started losing their mind, and it was amazing to see that how Hasbro just couldn't read the room on this one, almost because it was like Marvel Legends, just like Transformers and all of Hasbro's properties, they use lesser quality plastic now. They've said that, and that goes across the board. That's Power Rangers, that's Transformers, that's G.I. Joe, that's Marvel Legends, that's Star Wars, that's all of it. They use lower quality materials now. That's why stuff breaks so easily. We all know this, right? So nothing new here. It's also, they're not licensing the Dodge name, so it's not even a real Charger. It's a lookalike Charger. So they don't have the royalty rights to pay for the Charger aspect. They're not paying Dodge for the Charger aspect to this entire thing. So they don't have that excuse, okay? And I don't know how much a car company charges for their likenesses. I could only imagine it's a butt ton of money, okay? But Hasbro doesn't have that there. Then they throw in the LEDs, the lights, no sound, but they throw in the lights. Also, yep, Survive Fan says My Little Pony. Yep. That Hasbro owns My Little Pony. They throw in the lights. They throw in a bunch of extra stuff. And then they say, hey, early bird special, human form Robbie Reyes. Get it to 9,000 before the end of today at midnight. So today at midnight or 11:59 makes or breaks the human form Robbie Reyes. But you can see it on the table clear as day. All of this has been produced more or less. So the tooling is done, right? Like none of that looked 3D printed at all whatsoever. And if you guys know Bobby Vala of Vala Force, Action Force, he used to work for Hasbro. And on his podcast, he said that he doesn't understand where the pricing for this comes from. He just doesn't understand it at all. And when he worked there, he was the last and only person that was part of the team that fought for the consumer as hard as he did. Not everybody was yes men. He wasn't calling anybody out, but all he was saying is that he was the consumer worried person of the group, right? Let's see. JSP says real quick, Hasbro also started pre-orders on Target for figures based on the Dungeon Dragon Saturday morning cartoon this morning. You're absolutely right, they did. And they also brought back the starting lineup at $50 a figure. Okay, look, I get it. Licensing is a big task, okay, to get licensing on anything. It's a big task. It's a lot of money.
I also have the price of oil schematic up on the share screen right now, so people can see how the price of oil has been somewhat. Well, it was higher in 2022 for obvious reasons. It's still not enough to quantify the price hike.
No,
if you look at 2014. We're about on par with 2014 as far as crude oil prices go.
Yeah. And Hasbro said for a couple of years now that, okay, and I want to make this apparent here. This is something that I've noticed, is that every time they buy something, prices go up. And they always come out and they say they blame something else on it. It's always some kind of uh uh oil has gone up, shipping has gone up, XYZ has gone up, cost of materials is this now, blah blah blah. It's always something these last couple of years, but if you notice, prices have gone up after every time they buy something. And I think it correlates more to them putting the purchasing of Power Rangers Entertainment One, of everything, of all this stuff, putting it onto the consumer and not themselves. That's what I think is going on. And let's see. Survive Fan says, I left Hasbro due to cost. I'm selling my Transformers toys in a rummage sale, except for my Spy Changers. Let's see. I'm moving. This is why I'm selling them. And Survive Fan says inflation. Right now they're blaming inflation now. But here's the thing. It's an artificial inflation. Okay. The companies had all these record highs during COVID, and this goes for Netflix, this goes for Hasbro, it goes for all of it. They had all these record highs, and now things are starting to settle back down. Life's returning to, pre-COVID, and all these shareholders still want those record highs. They still want that $3.50 a share.
They want their COVID profits when everybody had the space and emotional energy to do their hobbies, because we weren't traveling for all intents and purposes. We were holed up for 6 months inside our homes.
Yeah.
Able to, that's why I started doing speed runs. I still have several crafting projects that I haven't finished that I started there. I was doing an art a day thing because I was so bored, and I don't have the space to do that now. And I work from home 2 days a week.
Right. And so I think it's kind of like they're freaking out because their shareholders want that $3.50 a share. And I'm using Netflix as an example here when I say $3.50 a share. The shareholders want Netflix to be $3.50 a share. They freaked out when it dropped back down to $2.50 a share, whatever it was, and Netflix closed down every animation department that they had, right? And the fan backlash to all of this has been astonishing, because for the last couple of years, the fans, and we've seen it, we've had the fans where $20 in the case of Transformers, $20 when Siege happened, a lot of people jumped off. They said, no, that's too much for a Transformer. I'm out. Okay, respectfully, I understood that. My thought process behind it was $20 for a Transformer. I'm buying $20 Marvel Legends. I'll start picking and choosing my Marvel Legends and just kind of see what happens with Siege and see where this goes. And that's what I started doing. Then their price went up again to $22.99 for their Transformers Deluxes, for their Marvel Legends, and then now it's $24.99 for a deluxe. So the last couple of years, it's almost like they were kind of getting away with it, and they just kind of poked the bear one too many times, and the bear finally woke up.
Well, with also the increased inflation that's going on, not to get into our personal finances, but we're in a drought situation. And if we go over a certain amount of water, we have to pay a fee for the water that's getting pumped into our area because we're in a drought. So not only are we not inflation isn't occurring just in consumer product, it's also occurring in your electricity. If you're in Texas, it's occurring in your electricity. I can't speak for anybody else outside of our state, since our state is wholly unique in this subject, as we've all been very vividly aware if you live in the United States. But, our electricity is going up. Our gas prices are going up, as far as natural gas, because we have natural gas at our house. So there's a lot of these prices are going up, rent's going up. It's harder to stay afloat for a lot of people. And now we're moving to a place where we have to decide, do we want to eat today or do we want this figure? And honestly, a good portion of the people will eat before they'll buy this figure. What our immediate needs need to be met right now, and then what do I have left to get this figure? So we're back into almost a 2008 uh economic cycle as far as income goes because of inflation. Like my job um just increase the amount of money that they reimburse us on work related commuting, like as far as me needing to go pick up somebody or going to this place to extol the virtues of the university. They increase that traveling rate because of inflation, and they're talking about giving us a third day work from home because people are complaining about how expensive it is to get into the city to get to work. And where I work is on the south side of the city. So if they live anywhere, to travel anywhere, if you're not living within the main inside the loop of Houston, where it's stupidly expensive, and you live mostly in the suburbs, it takes about an hour, depending on where you live and where you work, to get into the city. So you're also having to look at the cost people are accruing through gas prices, and gas prices were outrageous for this first half of the year. They're just now settling down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like the cost of everything has gone up, and it's like I said, it's all done artificially. It's all because of the greed and everything. And when HasLab debuted or unveiled that $350 on a Ghost Rider, people started picking it apart, man. I mean, it's the long shot body, and it's this body, and it's that, and it's not an original tooling. And I mean, they're going into Hasbro, and they're going into Mattel now, and it's everywhere. And I've said for every last, you can go back in my live streams, you go back in the Tales, every time I've said they're throwing testers out there. They've always done this. They've always done this with their pricing. They're throwing testers out there. And the first tester that we saw for a $20 price tag was Titan's Return Brainstorm, because he was $20 at Walgreens. And then Siege was $20. We see testers in the Marvel Legends. When Marvel Legends, when they were doing their Target exclusive 2-packs, Storm, I forgot who she was packaged with, but it was a $52.99 2-pack. Those figures were $26 a piece. And then the Fox, the Fox X-Men figures came out, and those were almost $30 a figure. And they throw testers out there. They throw them out there all the time. And the newest tester out there is the 3149 Red Cog at Target.
And it's not just Transformers that are throwing these testers right now, because I can go straight into Monster High and look at some of their Mattel Creation exclusives. And I'm sharing the screen right now. Okay, hold on. I'll share after I give the lowdown. So Mattel has been doing G1 Monster High reproductions. Basically they're continuing the G1 line of Monster High dolls for the G1 collectors, and they're basically doing different models and versions, but these are at adult collecting prices. So they're going to have a little bit more to them than the dolls you're going to see on the shelves. Okay, so think of it like these are going to be almost on par with San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figures. And the issue is these are $70 plus dolls. These are dolls that are pretty expensive, and the problem that they've been slowly increasing the doll prices for these collectors, G1 collectors, as they keep coming out, because they know that these are adults, and they have because of our unique situation, some of these people still live with their parents, or they live in a joint cohabitation situation, and they have some extra spending money to spend on these. So they kind of test the pricing, so that way they know how far they can get away with the dolls, the accessories, and the dresses. And but the other issue is that some people are receiving their dolls like this. I'm sharing the screen right now. Hold on. There it is. This is what we're receiving from Mattel as far as a few of the Cleo Denial Monster High. This was a $75 doll. Look at the lash line. It's kind of hard to tell, but let me go to this next one. Look at the
Yeah,
lash line here.
it's plugged right into her eye. Like it's not
Right
even
through her eye.
And see, that's the other thing too, is like a lot of people are saying, like, look, you're giving us terrible QC with these figures, and you're not giving us the material that you used to with terrible QC, and you want us to back all of this stuff. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys, I backed the Star Saber, the HasLab Star Saber. I spent my money, the $200. If I remember right, it's like $199, like 77 or something. It was like right on the cusp of $200. And that's a whole story within itself. And trust me, I'm writing a script. I don't script anything, but I'm actually writing a script to make the video for HasLab. But I backed the Star Saber, and then all of the yellowing issues start. And now I start thinking, oh man, dude, are they going to use crappy white plastic on this? Is this going to yellow in 2 months? What exactly am I getting? And I can't get an answer from Hasbro. I've emailed them. I am a backer. I've said I'm a backer. I've shown my Hasbro receipt, all of it. I've contacted, and they won't tell me a thing. And what's messed up about that, what bothers me the most about that, is I am the reason why me and 22,000 other people are the reason why that went into production. If I ask you a question about the product, you answer my question. I am an investor. I am an investor in that figure. You treat me as such, just like every other investor, because all the investors, they get they have investor calls, they have all of this stuff, but they don't have it for the Star Saber. And before you guys say the emails, the update emails, the update emails stopped. That's the issue.
That's terrible advertising. I'm sorry. The ad person in me is coming in. Real quick, I just want to give people context. This is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Frankie Steen Voltageous doll. Look at the eye line. Look at the eye. They fudged the eye here too for a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And back to your point about people talking. So a little bit of history, what's going on with Monster High is that a few days ago, there was the drop of the Real Dramas dolls, which are black and white dolls with the dolls are done in grayscale, and they have a bit of color that is unique to each of the dolls and their characters. There was no communication on how these dolls were going to be released or anything until we got the notification that launch is happening in 4 hours, and that would have been 2 a.m. Central Time. FYI. So here is a Mattel response. The Real Drama dolls are in the corner. What the person underneath goes, and we knew that these were going to be on shelves. These dolls were supposed to be on shelves. So the person asked, so when are on Target shelves, when? And Mattel responds with, keep.
What? Okay, wait. They said okay. So somebody asked if they're going to be on Target shelves, and they said keep. That's their reply?
That was their reply. Just to emphasize the communication issues that are coming out of this. And, I keep joking with you that I swear half the people who have social media presences, they probably have interns monitoring the social media. You know what I mean? Like I keep joking about it because there are a few people on some people's social media that are just firing away with those snappy comebacks and clapbacks and all that great jazz. You know what I mean? And it's hilarious to read. But then you get keep.
Like, that doesn't even make any sense to me. Real quick, shout out to Vector Overlay, man. Hope you're doing all right, buddy. He says, great topic, but all this greed from these toy companies really make my blood boil.
No, and I got so much stuff going on the HasLab stuff that you had brought to my eyes and influencing. So tell me when I can rant, and I will go.
So it's not it's not necessarily like a rant or anything. It's just one of those things where it's like I've spent my money, okay, and I want a quality product for the money. And I've said this I don't know how many times. If you guys, real quick, I'm gonna ask you guys, and I'm gonna do a poll on this because it seems like you guys are being really responsive to the polls. Do you guys want me to make a reason or like a reason video on why I'm done with Hasbro's products? I am gonna do a poll, but just the guys who are listening right now, you guys want me to make a video on why I'm done with Hasbro's products because I have pre-orders that are paid for that are still coming that I plan on doing reviews for. But after that, every Transformer review that I have will be from the library, so to speak, and third party going forward. So, but yeah, if you guys want me to do that video, let me know. But um, I pay my money for a product. And I gave HasLab a second chance.
And look, you're being generous here. You've given Hasbro a lot of chances
Okay,
in
and
the
I
last
have
few years. If I'm being flat out honest, because y'all don't, nothing against input, but y'all don't know how many times that I've had to talk him through a few of these figures because he's not incensed, but just so frustrated by everything. So that's why I just want to clarify, like, you've been more than generous with them and their shit, lack of a better term.
Yeah. I know, and I don't disagree with that. And it's just like I spend my money and it's like, okay, now I have to start jumping through hoops to get these figures. I have to jump through Amazon. I got to go to a Walgreens. I got to go to Walmart. I got to go to Target. I got to like the exclusivity here. Like, I don't get me wrong. Exclusives have their place. And JSP knows as well because I've talked to him before about it too. And he says, you've given them a number of chances. You also backed Unicron. Absolutely.
Oh my God,
right.
that was the day when you were looking over him. Look, with a fine-tooth comb.
And let's see, Blue Raccoon says collab with some Transformers YouTube, especially Gotbot. He'll join the club. I'll wear the jacket. You know what?
Y'all don't hear the private conversations between him and Gotbot and what they go on about Hasbro. Just saying, it is a trip. Like if I'm working from home and he's talking to Gotbot, I have my headphones out and not listening to podcasts because it is a trip. That's it. Sorry.
You know what, Blue Raccoon? If I will reach out to Gotbot, and if you want to make like a video, like a short video or something, telling your feelings why you're leaving Hasbro or your reason or whatever, I will edit it into my video, and I'm gonna reach out to Gotbot and see if he wants to do it as well. But JSP says I have given them a number of chances. I also backed Unicron, and I brought this back up because Unicron. I've said this before. Look. Yellow is a bitch of a color to match. It just is. It doesn't matter what the base coat is. Yellow absorbs the base coat.
He's not wrong.
So a 3D render of Unicron being this bright yellow, and we get him, and he's like kind of like a yellow, like an orangey yellow.
He's a sunshine yellow.
Yeah, I was like, okay, fine, cool. I didn't mind. What bothers me the most is I spent $600 on that Unicron, and the bottom teeth are not painted. I spent $600 and they didn't paint the bottom teeth. So, okay. And then at that point, I said, I'm done with HasLab. Okay, fine. I'm out. This is my one and only time. And I swore to that. Then I started seeing what they're doing with their Sentinel, with their Galactus. And I said, okay, they're lights. The Sentinel is 8 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever. The thing is all plastic. It's massive and heavy. And I saw all the tiers, and I said, okay, cool. They learned from Unicron. They took what everybody critiqued about HasLab from Unicron. They applied it to the Sentinel. Awesome. Then they did Galactus, and Galactus was running at the same time.
That was the hardest no I ever had to make on a figure in my entire life, by the way.
So then Starsaber happens, and everyone hits me up, man. Everybody knows how much I love Victory and how much I love Starsaber. Starsaber is my boy, right? Like, people love Optimus Prime, and the way that people love Optimus Prime, I love Starsaber, okay? So people are just like, input, they're sending me these messages and showing me. And I was like, oh my God, they're doing Starsaber. But I learned and I said, okay, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to wait till all the tiers. I'm not going to back it until all the tiers unlock. Then I'll back it. And that's what I did. Then after I backed in, after they took my money, all of the problems with the Sentinel started happening. The weak knees. You have a 9-pound figure and it can't stand. And this thing is bigger than Unicron. This thing is taller than HasLab Unicron. And the knees buckle. They don't work. And I could only imagine what Galactus is going to go through. So Starsaber will be my final HasLab endeavor. That's it. Just from everything that they've shown with the Rancor, everything they did with the Rancor, everything they did with that they're kind of doing with this Ghost Rider, everything that, like I said, the Sentinel being weak-kneed, not the QC issues is what I'm getting at here, and in kind of a long-winded way to get to, but the QC issues, and we've had enough. Like, people are tired of it, and I think a lot of people who were in my position who love Transformers, who gave the brand another chance, a second chance, a third chance, we're burned out, and the bridge has been burnt, and we're not willing to rebuild it to walk across it again because there are other options out there. And I've seen people. Go ahead.
You should. No, I'm just saying, no, you shouldn't be giving them any more chances. Like, how I've been giving, like, just like me, I stepped out of the Monster High collecting because I priced myself out. I personally priced myself out because I know I do not have the wherewithal to stop buying. I had to force myself to stop buying, or we would have been living in a Monster High house, literally a house made out of Monster High dolls.
That'd be pretty cool. Not gonna lie, it'd be really colorful.
But at the end of the day, how many of these dolls that you've seen me talk about do I want to purchase? Really not any of them. Any of the new ones. I would love to have them. I tried for the Dracula, but I'm not going out of my way to purchase them anymore because I'm seeing the QC issues. The dolls aren't sealed. Like, they have not sealed any of the paint on these dolls, and these are, and by these dolls I mean the G3 toy dolls, the dolls meant for the younger generation of children who are going to play with them. They're not sealing them, so the paint is rubbing off the face makeup, the detailing on the body. So no, I am not going to be buying these dolls anymore, and you shouldn't have to sit here and apologize for stepping away from Hasbro. It's all Hasbro's fault.
Yeah. And what it fascinates me, not even fascinates me, what I love seeing, and I always love seeing this, is when the consumer stands up to the company and says, no, we saw it with the Rancor. And I made a Rancor video because I don't think you guys know, like, everything I collect. I know a few people watching do, but I don't think everybody knows because my channel is a Transformers, mostly like 99% Transformers channel, right?
We got a lot of figures here.
But I also collect retro toys. I also collect, and when I say retro, I mean like old school. Like, I have Double Dragon toys from the cartoon. I've got like Rambo stuff. I've just got like a lot of 90s and 80s toy lines. On top of that, I also
whenever we're at my parents', he goes through our old toys to see if there's anything he wants.
Yeah.
So.
I also collected Black Series. I also collected Marvel Legends. I also, Transformers, the WWE Mattel figures, the Elite only figures, the AEW figures. And it's not because I'm not collecting I'm not spending money to spend money. It's I genuinely love I love Star Wars. I love comics. I love professional wrestling. I
You
love
have a
Transformers, right?
you had when we first met, there was a Barbie or two that were collector's editions that you had that we have sold since then. You have a
Yes.
River Styx Monster High doll. I mean,
Yep.
you like things that fit within your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And it's not just Transformers.
So I love seeing, like, when the consumer stands up to the company and says, no, we're not taking it no more. And we saw it with the Rancor. The Star Wars Black Series people were like, dude, you're not even giving us the 2 figures that we want, and you want us to back it. No, we're not doing it. And it failed. And I'm glad that it did, because it sent a message to Hasbro, right? It's a small message, mind you, but it sent a message.
Get it
And
freaking
we're
right.
seeing it, and we're seeing the backlash now with this Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. It hasn't backed because of the price tag. Hasbro increased the prices 3 times in 3 years. And people are tired of it, where, you can't get blood from a stone, that's what they're essentially trying to get here. And they've hit a wall, and they started doing the early bird specials, which I find
Sorry. That's
uh
ridiculous. I'm so sorry.
what happened?
No, I'm laughing because of the early bird specials. Like that's still making me laugh. We've been talking about this all day and I cannot stop laughing at this.
The early bird specials, it's like, order in the next 2 weeks and you get this exclusive figure. They did it with GI Joe, and I mentioned when I covered the His Tank, I mentioned how it's a shady business practice. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting to me that they would do that. But then they did it here with the Robbie Reyes, with the human form Robbie Reyes, and everybody was like, "What? Like an early bird special? What?" Like, it just no sense made at all. Real quick, what's up, Ninja Bill? Haida says, I still feel like Hasbro is basing their pricing on the secondary market prices for previous product. Haida, I'm glad you said that, because
we got stories.
It just jogged my memory when I was listening to Bobby Vala's podcast. It has a wealth of information there, because he worked on the inside of Hasbro all the way up until I think it was like 2018 or something. They line item price all of their stuff. That's why Transformers are 25. That's why G.I. Joe is 25. That's why Marvel Legends is 25. That's why Power Rangers is $24.99. That they line item all of their stuff.
Makes it easier when people, and trust me, when the reason they do this makes it easier so they can go in their annual reports and say, we, in the $25 market, we sold 200 units. And sorry.
Yeah, because percentages, I've said this my entire working life, percentages are BS, because you can lie on percentages. Percentages never tell the entire story.
From
Ever.
a nonprofit standpoint, when I have to report the income that we receive from our donors to the government during IRS time, and what we announce to the donors and shareholders of the nonprofit, we cannot use percentages. That is against 501c3 rules. We have to use hard numbers.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the way it should be. So when he said, Bobby Vala said, he's like, the reason why G.I. Joe and Transformers and Power Rangers, the stuff that they own, that they don't pay a licensing for, is $24.99, is because it's the line item priced across the board. So he also said that at the end of the day, he doesn't understand why this HasLab is $350, because when he worked there, it would not have cost anywhere near, for that figure, for that entire setup to cost $350. It would not have cost, the tooling and everything would not have cost anywhere near that cost, or that price, for that price to be a functional price. And the reason why I even remotely take his word on that is because of the Valaverse figures. The guy is still in the toy industry. The guy is still He's talking to factories. He's still doing the tooling. He's still doing this and all this stuff. And he said the most important thing is to get the stuff into people's hands. The $350 price tag is not going to do anybody any favors. And Haida asked, without being sarcastic, what would it take to divorce Hasbro from Transformers?
Someone would have to come with money. Let's be honest.
Well, see, I don't think that's the case. I think what it would take for them, honestly, would be they need to liquidate everything because they're about to go out of business. So they need to start selling things off. That's what I think would take. And I think that Transformers, G.I. Joes, those would be some of the last ones to go because they can still make a crap ton of money on it. And it would be at little cost as possible to them. You know, Marvel Legends, they would let the rights and all that stuff go. Power Rangers, I could easily see them leaving behind because it's not originally their property. They would sell off things like Mask. They would sell things off, Visionaries, like all the stuff that they haven't touched in a long time. That's what I think would do it for sure. Let's see. Mattel stock is $19.90 a stock. Hasbro stock is $70.99 as of closing time today. And that means, because JSP was talking to me about this the other day, Hasbro stock the other day was $75 in that range, like 76 maybe. So they have dropped their stock as well.
And I was asking input. Do you mind if we transition into what you wanted me to discuss, or?
Oh no, just real quick. I just wanted to say that at the end of the day, the fans are pushing back on this because they're tired, and it's everything. Everyone is talking, not just the Marvel Legends guys are talking about this. Everybody is talking about this. All the Star Wars guys were talking about the Rancor. No one outside of it, no one outside the Star Wars community, Black Series community was talking about it.
The doll community, sans Barbie. Barbie is its own beast. So the Barbie people are extremely in their own little community at the moment. I am referring to Shadow High collectors, Monster High collectors, those kinds of doll collectors. The alternative to Barbie collectors are even talking about Masters of the Universe, Grizzlor situation. They're talking about the HasLab Robbie Reyes situation and the Transformers line item pricing. They are seeing why their little small community is getting a lot of it, why they're having QC issues. And it seems like no one's before we would never have these kind of QC issues. And now we're having these QC issues. We're having the similar responses when we bring it up, especially on social media. So a lot of this is transferring out from the small communities, and it's venturing out into other communities that have no relation to it outside of the fact that they're just toys. Barbie being excluded from it.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about that is Barbie doesn't even have the problem that this has.
Barbie is Mattel's baby outside of American Girl. It's American Girl and Barbie, who I don't have the numbers, so this is just Oracle speculating. I do think that those two are the ones that fund Mattel the most because they don't have to do much advertising for those two properties to get anywhere back on whatever they make on it, whatever they put into it.
The last bit of Barbie's advertising that I saw was when they started doing the alternate dolls. They started doing well, they did the cripple Barbie. Remember?
Oh, you mean the Barbie? Oh, the Barbies with the prosthetics and in the wheelchair, and the girl with vitiligo, and the gender neutral dolls.
Yes. That was the last bit of Barbie anything that I saw advertisement for, and that was when did they start doing that? 2018, 2017, right?
A little bit before then, because that vitiligo doll is still their #1 seller.
Yeah. So there's a ton. There's so much the backlash, the ripple effects from the shockwaves. The shockwaves have been massive from all of this. Mm-hmm. The ripple effects have just been astounding to me.
And that brings me to my my issues with this whole thing, because I was asking input about what's their advertising situation like, because I know
Real
exactly
quick,
what.
real quick. Haida says special needs Barbie because I said crippled Barbie, and you're absolutely right. My bad.
I translate for him sometimes because
Yeah.
his brain doesn't work in certain situations. He doesn't mean it. I will be honest. I have to translate, and I missed
Yeah,
it that moment.
like I don't mean it negative. It's just like the first word that comes to mind that means something like on a like the bigger scale or whatever. Like it's just that's what gets thrown out there. So she Oracle translates for me all the time. So
But I asked him what the situation is with advertising, because right now that's kind of big in the Monster High community and somewhat within the Shadow High community, or Rainbow High, Shadow High community, is that they're moving a little bit more of the launch announcements to the doll tubers. And I'm kind of
oh
going, that
yeah.
just doesn't, like, doll tubers, like, we did, again, this most recent release for Monster High, we didn't get any real notification until the day of launch, and that launch was going to happen at 2 a.m. So it would have been in the middle of the night, in the middle of a week. And these are the dolls that are G1. So this is mostly geared towards G1 collectors who are a good chunk adults. I'm sure there's still a few who are in high school or in college. And these are people with real jobs that they have to go to in the day. They're not up at all hours of the night. So having this release being forced with the doll tubers is kind of where I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. The advertising concept of this doesn't make sense. So I asked input, where has been the main advertising going for the Robbie Reyes figure? And guess what he told me?
Oh,
Your turn.
yeah, like all the influencers and stuff, like the um. Well, real quick, Haida says he's talking about the Kenner. Yeah, so Kenner was bought out by Hasbro in the early 90s, and the Beast Wars, the Kenner crew, the Kenner team, um Transformers was given to the Kenner team to do something with because G2 was a flop, and they came up with Beast Wars and they saved the line. So while technically Kenner didn't own it, Kenner, I guess you could say, has the rights to say that they saved it, right? But they were still, it was still a Hasbro company. But yeah, so all of their advertisement is done, and I've said this, and I know you guys have heard me say this before. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Agreed.
on a Transformers channel talking about a Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. We are talking about He-Man. We are talking right now. We're talking about Monster High. There's no such thing as bad publicity, and I feel like they just honestly they don't care about what the fans are saying or doing. It's just getting out there. What's up, Curtis Schultz,
They
man?
want the hype. If I'm being flat out honest, right now, all you in this day of social media and faster than lightning stories that are being put out there, having stuff go viral is now the new way of
Yep.
doing things. As long as there's hype, that means more eyes are coming towards it. That means there's a good potential chance of there being more sales. And to be quite honest, it has proven effective. I mean, when things get controversy around it, there's going to be people who say, no, we will never buy it. And these people are like, what the heck's going on? Oh, I agree. I'm going to buy all of it. I'm going to buy 2 or 3 or 4. Just
Yeah.
shove it in the face of the people who said, no, I'm never going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
here I am, Kermit flailing my arms as I say this.
Well, and you see that right now with the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. You see a lot of people saying, "Oh man, just back it," and then just so we can unlock the tiers and we can see everything, and then if you're not happy with it, just take your money back. Like you see all that, and then you see the backlash against that. Like, no, I'm not spending $350. I don't care if
and
I plan on taking it back or not. And it's just
and
like
right
this.
at oh sorry.
No, I was
You
just gonna
finish your
say it's
thought.
like this. It's like a power struggle or whatever, like an attempt, like a power struggle, right? It's like a tug of war of like people begging other collectors to get it back just to cancel it if they don't like all the stuff. And it's like you're missing the point. It's like
And
you're missing the fact that this is about principle. It's not about your plastic crack addiction. right?
And then right at the center of it are these YouTubers. And I started looking into it and I started reading a lot or listening into what they had to say about the Robbie Reyes stuff, and it filled in some questions for me too. So here I am hearing these YouTubers go, back it. We just got word from Hasbro that we're doing really well. Back it. Like, we need more backers to get this selling point. And I started thinking, and mind you, I have a varied interest when toys are not my one singular interest. I have a lot of interest in the beauty industry. That's where my love is. That's where I started. I do makeup on the side. I used to do makeup on the side pre-COVID. It's stuff that I like. So yes, I watch makeup tubers, hair tubers, fashion tubers. So I watch a lot of this, and I have already been through these types of growing pains that the doll community is having with influencers through the beauty tuber fashion stuff. Okay, side note, done. But the thing that I noticed here is that they kept saying we're getting conversation from Hasbro, and Hasbro's asking us that we still need to hit these marks. Please do this. And I asked him, put, have any of the toy tubers ever mentioned coupon codes or anything like that? And your answer was,
Well, every now and then, it's not okay. It's Hasbro doesn't give out coupon codes or anything else. So when you see like somebody has an affiliate link for Amazon, that's for Amazon. Like, we see that stuff all the time. But there's also, when you don't say that a video is sponsored, there is a backlash. There is a massive backlash. And in case in point, to prove the Transformers aspect to it, when Prime versus Prime started, when he teamed up with Zavi in the UK, and there was all that Zavi PvP backlash and all that stuff that was going on, it spilled over onto Thu, because Thu got contacted and by Zavi and was like, hey, yeah, we're going to send you some toys to review or whatever. And Thu was like, this video is sponsored by Zavi, because that's where he got the figures from. And he thought he was doing, he thought he was doing the right thing. He wasn't aware of like all the PvP stuff and all that, everything. So the backlash fell onto him as well. It just kind of spilled over onto him from all that, from all, just because of, PvP's reputation and everything, right? So, and it's just, I don't know how to finish that, but it was just like, that's, you see it happen. Like, you see the backlash of all this stuff when it's oh man, when it just brain farted on everything. Sorry. When it's sponsored, you see the backlash of it and you start to see the spillover on it and everything. You start to really see the effects of all of this. So Hasbro doesn't give out coupon codes, but what Hasbro does, and this is what I'm thinking they're doing, is everybody up there on their live streams, man, are so unrelatable. Every last one of them up there is a weird, oddball, goofball. Like, they're not a fan of anything that they're talking about. They might be on some level, but they're it's just like,
which is something in my advertising brain that I'm laughing about too. And I'll bring my points on when you're done.
So, and I think that's what they're now they're doing that. And so we saw the announcement that Thu was going to be a presenter or something on the Transformers Hasbro PulseCon, right? And now, okay, I think they're doing that because it's more of a no pun intended, say translatable. He's relatable to the entire community, because who's this weirdo whack job who's always smiling? Like, who's this guy? We don't know this guy. Oh, we know Thu. He's the guy who rhymes, right? So I think that's what they're doing, and we're starting to see the start we're starting to see the start and the beginning of all of this.
And the funny thing that you brought up with all of this is that these people, Haida just made the host just seemed kind of soulless. They just do not have the love, like what Ninja Bill is saying. And that's the funniest thing to me, because if we're being really honest, the beauty industry is what really started the influencing trend, quote unquote, in advertising. Now, for quick overview of influencing models, some of you may understand it, some of you may not. Influencing model is where you have a YouTuber or someone who is already doing this kind of stuff, input being an example. I'm just using input as the example. And here comes the company, and here comes the company, and they go, hey, we want you to review our product. Now, the reason why I mentioned the beauty tubers and everything like that is because the beauty tubers have a product, like they're being given this product to review. There was a huge growing pain where people needed to know, where beauty tubers were hiding the fact that this was a sponsored product, and it kind of snowballed into the fact that now everybody needs to, they're kind of making it aware now that this is a sponsored review. But the thing is that beauty tubers are selling makeup, skincare, hair care,
They're
clothes.
factual. They're selling things that are factually based. And what I
Yes.
mean by that is, if you are, I don't know, let's just say you're brown complexion, right? So like this light brown. So like say you're Hispanic, you're African American, like whatever it is, you're light brown complexion. You need a light brown foundation so your makeup doesn't look wonky, right? Like it's going to be factually based.
You're going to need to understand if the undertones match your undertones. You're going to need to know if this eyeshadow will smear on greasy eyelids. You're going to need to know if this
Oh.
eyeliner will run. And you follow those YouTubers who have similar skin issues, hair issues. Input can attest to this. I've recently went down the entire hair care rabbit hole because I have wavy hair and I was tired of having a rat's nest with it. So I have completely transformed through YouTube my hair. And the thing here is that these are products that you need to know the science behind in order to understand it. I do not see how we can, I mean, granted, the beauty industry really revolutionized the way this influencer model is. So instead of paying, and I will be honest, I remember one ad campaign I worked on when I was in advertising, went upwards into the tens of millions of dollars for radio, print, TV, catalog, everything, like social media, the whole shebang. Tens of millions of dollars, where now you can easily pay 5 YouTubers $30,000, $50,000 each, which is a significant decrease in the advertising revenue. Same,
Well,
that's also including the product that they're giving. You reduce the amount, so that's less money that you're spending on the advertising all the way around.
well,
And it just is not translating well into a toy situation. And I don't see how it could, because I'm going to be honest, some of the people who do toy reviews are not the most charismatic, not
well,
you included, but some
no,
of them that are
absolutely.
getting this, I'm like, why?
Well, my point in saying what I said is like it's factually based is because a toy review is subjective. Like it's like if you look at my Blitzwing video review, right? And you can hear in my voice that I'm disappointed with the figure. I even pointed out all the bad things that it was unfinished. And that's what I felt about it. It was unfinished. That's how I felt. People either agreed with me or they didn't. I had comments on the video that said they loved it. It's in their top 10. And I had comments saying,
Mhm.
yeah, I can see where you're coming from. You're right. Whatever. It's all subjective. The makeup stuff is factual, like I said. So you can't, the influencer model falls apart when it becomes anything based on subjectivity, like
Agreed.
toys.
And you can't even use like the fashion YouTubers. You can't really even use them as an example. And because with fashion, when you're reviewing clothes, you talk about the fit, you talk about the
Yeah.
type of clothing that you have. And before anybody's like, wait, what do if you ever watch a fashion tuber and they're giving a very thoughtful review on it, they will shred that piece of clothing apart. The seaming doesn't work. The color, the type of cloth that fabric they're using is subpar and see-through for this kind of structure. They're literally reaming this piece of fabric, this piece of clothing apart. And I have noticed when you do that in the toy community, and I don't even mean reaming, you can just go, this is not a quality product. There's 10 other people coming and going, oh, you're just being a hater, you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm like, I don't like it is a very weird concept, and I try to stay away from stuff like that, in my honest opinion.
Well, I mean, just to take, I mean, that's, just take the negativity out, because I mean, like, people are going to get attacked no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what your opinion is, your viewpoint, whatever. People are just going to attack you. Like you see it, like I said, with the Marvel Legends Robbie Reyes thing right now. But even if you take all of that out of the equation, it's subjective. Like, that's all it is. That's all it boils down to.
And then when it comes down to factual things, like, honestly, I'm going to bring in Shadow High for a second. I forgot the name of the doll, but there was a Shadow High doll that was released as an online exclusive, and it was around the $70 mark, like some of these Creep Production Collector series Monster High dolls. And guess what? It didn't come, and it was $70. And this was on the tails of another doll that was sold for the same price through an online collecting type situation. But this specific doll did not come with a second set of clothes, any accessories outside of the brush, or a stand. And this was going for $70 stinking dollars. And at first, people were just trashing the doll left, right, and center because it wasn't worth the $70. Because you're not getting the second set of clothing, you're not getting a good quality set of accessories with the doll, and you're not getting a stand. All you're getting is a brush in the doll. And then you start getting the doll tubers who are getting free dolls, and out of nowhere, and some people have been mentioning this in the comments, it's been nothing but rave reviews for this doll that is nowhere near in comparison to the last one. This doll is, all for intents and purposes, a cash grab. And these were the same people who were commenting, oh, I will never buy it, I will never buy it. And now they have it in their hot little hands, and they're praising it left, right, and center for being the best doll that they ever made.
Yeah. And I've said it here before. Anytime Hasbro ever says anything about prices going up, they use the excuse of engineering once. And I said, well, Earthrise, everything that they've done up to this point, 90% of it has been borrowed engineering, either from third party or from G1 characters. That grapple, the Earthrise grapple, the mold, Inferno, Artfire, was it Road Hauler, they all transform the exact same way that the G1 toy did. So don't come at me with engineering. No,
yeah.
I don't think so, Scooter. It's not engineering. Try again.
I'm not the biggest Transformers fan in the whole wide world, but even I take it some time to play with your toys whenever they're around me, and I'll ask you for help. But then I get really disappointed when I realize one of the figures that I'm flipping around and changing and transforming and all this other stuff is the same as the last one I was playing with.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's so disappointing. It's like giving me a Rubik's Cube and telling me how to solve it in every single step.
And don't get me wrong, like Transformers, like, molds have always been borrowed. Like I said, I just gave great examples, right? Like Grapple, Inferno, Artfire, Hauler, they're all the same mold. They're different characters. That's part of Transformers. That's part of the thing, right? But but at the end of the day, you're not bringing. So like what I'm saying anything with that is like
you're not bringing anything new for the price point.
Right, absolutely. And okay, and then it's basically, before I go on like a long rant, before I drive across the country just to go downtown.
On the influencing model and toys that I still have like rants to go on too.
Well, but that's the thing. But that's the thing that worries me about it, is that you saw what happened with the makeup stuff, right? And the makeup, there's a lot more sinister stuff, because makeup can be, it can burn someone's skin. Okay,
people have mica allergies, and if you get that under your eye and it's severe, your face turns into what some people look like with the bee sting.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So and a lot of that stuff during all of the makeup, beauty, and all that stuff, a lot of that stuff was being hidden because these people were making like $10,000-$20,000 off of Revlon for giving them a makeup palette.
And not only
And
that, but like some brands were indie hits that got their start from beauty tubers like Morphe. You know, Morphe's one of my favorite brands ever as far as makeup
yeah,
and makeup and tools go, as far as that, as far as anything goes. And FYI, whenever we're at the mall, I always hit up the Morphe store. Anyway, but they were an indie brand that got their hype because Jaclyn Hill was the one who started the whole Morphe thing. She ended up making her own palette and just showing the quality of the eyeshadows alone is what turned Morphe into what it is. So the model does work. It's not, I just don't see it working 100% for
well,
the
and that's
community.
well, and that's what worries me is like, because you're gonna end up seeing a lot of this stuff, like Ninja Bill says right here. He's like, look at the new hot rod coming out. WTF G1 colors, missing accessories, yet $5 more, and there are people who are already raving about how good it
Yes.
is. Yeah,
Like, I just don't understand how you can sit here. Like, truthfully speaking, I that same with that Monster High or the Shadow High doll I was referencing earlier. It's all a giant cash grab, and they're using the influencing model to feed on people's FOMO. Like, they are using it to
yes.
psychologically feed on people's FOMO because it has been proven that a YouTuber or influencer in this type of situation gives a sense of social permission. And please understand that's in quotes, social permission to purchase this product because it's like a friendly friend you're talking to on the other side of the screen. That's how it works. It's giving you this sense of FOMO. You have to have it because this person who you trust is purchasing it. It's all such an insidious psychological situation that they're putting on the consumer, despite the fact that marketing in and of itself is psychologically induced and everything like that. And I can go into the history of modern marketing that dates back all the way to the early 1900s. So
Well, hey, like I said, don't drive across the world to go downtown like I was about to. Okay.
yeah,
Um, but like I said, but the thing that worries me the most about it is like you just said, I saw somebody say, and I thought about it, and when I sit down and I think about it, I try to think about everything from different angles, perspectives, people's reasonings for this or that or whatever. But he said, uh, everybody out there who has a following of some kind, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small, you are an influencer. You can have one subscriber on YouTube and you do toy reviews. You are influencing that person's decision on that toy, whether or not they take your advice. If you say it's good and they don't like the color and they pass on it, doesn't matter. You are running the risk of influencing their decision. And it got me thinking of where this whole influencer model is going to go, because you don't see people out there talking about the bad when it comes to the influencers that are being paid, right? You only see they talk about the good. It's not really necessarily a review. It's a go buy this product. And then that's it. They're no better than the My Pillow guy. Okay. It does have me worried, because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be enjoyable. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be, stressless. It's not supposed to be stress inducing. It's not supposed to be any of this stuff. But
and it's
how is it going to reflect, and how is it going to play out when a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever it is, if this pans out, how is it going to reflect on everyone getting stressed out and leaving communities and leaving the hobby that they love, selling off all this stuff because they're angry or whatever the case? It's going to look terrible. It's going to be
and
a disaster.
And just to add to that, I'm seeing it in the Monster High community very, very vividly right now because they're now starting to experience the bot situation and resellers and all this other stuff. You know, they're starting to experience it now because Monster High is getting a resurgent with G3 coming out. And they're getting really frustrated because a lot of these exclusive online dolls are getting scooped up by the bots left, right, and center. And they found one of the websites for the Mattel Creations website bot. They found someone advertising it on freaking Instagram of all places, and they were tagging Mattel about it. And I'm here like, Mattel ain't gonna do jack all shit about it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss, but they're not gonna do jack all nothing about it. Just the same way Hasbro hasn't done anything about it. And then I look onto the subreddit and other, excuse me, my voice caught, and other Monster High communities, and there's people literally in tears over the fact that they were unable to capture or get this doll. And it just made me realize how much this influencing model and how much this FOMO model has turned these toys that are literal wants into needs for a lot of these people.
Yeah,
And
for
it's
sure.
blurred that line significantly, and how much I am so happy for myself back when we first started living together, that I stopped purchasing the Monster High figures because they were starting to turn into a need and starting to take up a lot of my time, energy, and finances.
Yeah. And I've gotten to the point now with everything that I have, of because of all the price hikes, because of all the stuff, I'm actually going back and buying older figures more so now than
Mm-hmm.
I don't when I go into Target, I very rarely go into the toy aisle now. I will
There's
walk
nothing
past
there.
I'll walk past the toy aisle and I'll look at the Transformers section. I won't even go down it. I'm just like, okay, it's empty. There's nothing there. Look, there's 6 movie Bumblebee cups. There's 19 toy colored pterosaurs and some Galvatrons. I could see that just walking out of the electronics. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not even gonna go. And the sad fact of the matter is with that is I have visited the toy aisle my entire life. There hasn't been one time where it's just like, okay, whatever, I'm just not going to go. And it's because I've gotten to the point of I'm essentially just burned out on modern day toys. It doesn't hold that same level of excitement for me because these companies have burned me out on it. And that's the saddest thing that I find. And that's what I don't want people who enjoy this to have the company essentially be the reasons why they stop. They should be the reasons why they stop. You know, like the people should be the reasons why they stop. They shouldn't be burned out by action figures. They shouldn't be feeling burned out from an action figure company. They shouldn't be burned out because every time, say, you're on Facebook or Instagram, you get 17 ads for Big Bad Toy Store popping up. You shouldn't feel burned out because you're being attacked by all of these, you know, the Marvel Legends collectors or these customizers that attack you for your airbrush choices or for your, or you know what I'm saying? Like, because you like dubbed instead of subbed anime. Like, it's just, people are getting tired and burned out on the hobby, and it shouldn't be.
Agreed.
Just shouldn't be a thing at all.
And not only that, but seeing people who are still are in the burnout and they haven't realized it yet, going into financial debt over these, you know, pulling credit cards out to fund their collection and everything like that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
I saw.
that's so
I
rampant right now in the Monster High community for a lot of young, and I mean young, like young adults, like
yeah.
in their 20s, pulling out credit cards to fund their Monster High stuff.
I saw somebody talking about because of the way the pre-order system works, you know, because if you pre-order and it says it's coming out in October and then March it decides to ship like 6 months early, like, and you don't have the 75, the 100, the 20, whatever it costs, like you're basically left standing there, you know, with your hands in your pocket I saw somebody like get a credit card. What? And use the credit card for your toys. What are you?
Like, unless you're
the
using
prices
the credit card.
the prices are high enough, right? Like the prices are high enough, and now you're going to turn around and pay an extra $3 interest rate on
And
this
the only
figure.
way you would beat that $3 interest, the only way you would beat that interest rate is if it charges to your card, and you're aware of it, and you pay it off right then and there.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only way you can get around that, and it just still doesn't make finance. Like, I understand this because I do use my credit card for such purchases. I'm not going to be like high and mighty here, but but at the end of the day, I also know what I'm getting myself into, and I pay it off as quickly as I possibly can. Yes, there's some months that it's not going to happen than others, but for the most part, it does get paid.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I get the sentiment behind it, right? But like if you're expecting a figure to come out, okay, I'm gonna talk two different scenarios here. If you have a third party figure, I have X-Transbot's Deathsaurus on pre-order. I have money set aside for him. He is going to come out after shipping and tax, is going to be around $275. He is massive. And when I pre-ordered him, he was $250. He is now at $300 with $33 deposit required on him. I'm not letting that go. Not letting it go. I have money set aside. It's done. It's paid for as far as I'm concerned, right? So, but just imagine somebody who doesn't have that turns around and says, okay, it's shipping fourth quarter. Let's just say November for the sake of conversation here. And then October hits, and then boom, they're hit with $315 or $20 after tax and shipping on their credit card. That, in some cases, is your full coverage insurance for that month for your car. That might be your car note. That might be your grocery bill. So now you're stuck paying the interest on $320 until Deathsaurus is paid off. Another example here. Hasbro, Mattel, like the younger, like the smaller figures, the $20 figures, the $30 figures, right? You come and you pre-order Wild Rider, you pre-order, I don't know who's coming. Let's just say Wild Rider, Cup, Bumblebee, Croc, and Prowl. That's what you've pre-ordered at $27.99 on Big Bad Toy Store, $4 shipped, right? So now you're looking at $200. And you're going to put that on your credit card. And then now, again, $200 grocery bill. That might be your light bill depending on your house. Whatever the case may be, it still might put you in a situation to where you're stuck paying the bill on the credit card and paying the interest on it before you can pay off the figure.
So now to break it down, now you're feeding two greedy corporations at that point.
Yeah.
Instead of one.
Yeah. And I won't dare say a retailer like Big Bag Toy Store or something like that. I don't want to put them into like the greedy pile, right? Because they're essentially like they're a hobby store type of thing, like they're not getting the same deals that say Target or Walmart gets from Mattel, yeah. Right?
That was when you're buying retail, like Target retail.
Haida in chat says, how dare you give your capital to another toy maker in Galvatron's voice? You are all bank accounts belong to me. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you don't have to be, because it's at the end of the day, it's your choice, but be responsible with the stuff. And I think that's what we're starting to see here.
And be a smart consumer about everything.
Right. Be a smart consumer. And that's what I think we're finally starting to see, because a lot of this stuff is marketed and tossed out at us. And a lot of us now, we're in positions in life where we have car notes, we have house payments, we have insurance, we have kids, we've got college tuition that we have to pay for.
We have extremely expensive little dogs who get into a lot of trouble. Is that a little
right? Like, we have extra expenses now that we can't just go blow $50 that grandma gave us on some toys anymore. We don't have that. And so now that we've become conscientious in our decision making for our finances, we're starting to see like, okay, I'm not spending $350 on this Ghost Ride, $400 after tax and shipping.
I wouldn't blame you. I'm still the only doll I was willing to purchase in the last couple months was that Dracula doll for $60 something.
Yeah.
You know, like, and even then I was like, how am I going to pull it off? I'm going to pull it freaking off because it's a Bela Lugosi Monster High doll, you know?
Absolutely.
Like,
That's how I felt about the X-Transbots Deathsaurus. By God, it's a Deathsaurus in scale with Masterpiece Star Saber. It is massive. His wings, it's Deathsaurus for my Masterpiece Star Saber. I said, I'm making that happen. I put 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, whatever it was away, right? Just to be able to get it. And I added it all up after tax and shipping and all that stuff, and I put all of it away. Haida says, smart consuming makes it harder for our corporate overlords to fleece us. He's right. That's very true.
You know what? I find it extremely funny right now that Haida smart consuming comment is not showing up in chat on the YouTube. So YouTube is onto us, everybody.
Oh, you know what? Just so everyone sees it, there you go, Haida. Everyone will see it unless YouTube decides to ban this episode of Tales, which wouldn't be the first time they cut an episode. You guys remember the early Headmaster days, trying to do the live streams with it and stuff. But yeah, God, I don't know. It's just like I was saying, just I'm worried about where the future of it is going because it kind of seems like a lot of the fun factor for a lot of the stuff is being slowly slipped away because it's no longer a thing to where you can go spend $10 and just forget about the $10. You know, it's now a $30 figure. It's now a $30 to $40 to $50 to $60 purchase that you're thinking about. And then to get home and to use me as an example in Blitzwing, I buy the figure $65 after tax. Like, I go home, I'm excited, like, yes, this is going to be, I love the way this looks. And I open it up and it's like, oh, the disappointment in it. It's just like, I just spent $65 on this. Like, damn. You know, and I'm not getting that level of enjoyment or anything. Like,
you're not getting the desired dopamine effect.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not the dopamine effect. No, not that. I wouldn't even go that far with it. You expect to love it, but then when you get it, it lets you down, right? You expect to like it from all the pictures and stuff that you've seen of it, and then it lets you down. It's like if you went to a water park and you're looking at the brochure and it's like, 500-foot slides, 30-mile-an-hour rushing water, and it sells you all this stuff, and it sounds so good. And you look at all the pictures, and it's like, yes, this is awesome. And you get there, and half the park's closed. And the 50-foot slides are the ones that are closed. The rushing waters are the ones that close. And the only thing's open is the kiddie pool. You're like,
come to Disney, man. Pay a fast pass so you can get on all the rides for free or wait in line.
Yeah. Right? Oh my God, dude, Fast Pass. You guys want a Tales from Teletraan episode on Disney's Fast Pass? Let me know.
On Disney itself, we'll get canceled by Google in 5 minutes with the way we both feel. And I am a former Disney addict. I love myself some Disney early 2000s made for TV movies. I am a former Disney addict, so this is
right.
I still will watch Disney, just not as much as I used to.
So we got, and so before we get out of here, I just want to reemphasize that I am going to put a poll up on the community tab, and Motormaster has won for the review. I did not expect it's something like 90% Motormaster. I didn't expect that outcome, so Motormaster wins by a landslide. So the Motormaster Legacy Motormaster review will be coming up next week. The next poll that I will have up is, do you guys want me to make a video on why I'm leaving Hasbro's product? That and when I say product, that goes for everything. The Power Rangers Lightning Collection stuff, the Transformers, the Black Series, the Marvel Legends. I had Vector Overlay earlier said, yes, go for it, do it. But what do you guys think? I'm going to make a poll over there on the community tab. And Haida says, Tales from Capitalism. It wouldn't be the first time. We had Tales from the Technodrome. We had Tales from Teletraan. We had
Tales from the Turnbuckle.
Yeah, Tales of the Turnbuckle. That was me and Gotbot a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the CM Punk thing.
I wanted to be in on that so badly because I have my thoughts and feelings too.
Dude, and Haida right here says hashtag make Power Rangers Bandai again. 100% agree with that. I couldn't agree with that any more than I do. But yeah, look out for that that poll. And yeah, be 3 choices: yes, no, don't care. So the fate of that video is in your hands. I do have a HasLab video coming up as well. That's in the works, in the making. I've been wanting to make that video for a while. Timmy K, man, what is up, dude? I hope you're doing all right. We're fixing to head out of here, but I hope you're doing okay, man. And
you've been on for a while, having a rant.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say it's a rant. I think there's just a lot of stuff going down in the toy community. I don't want to say community, in the toy world, in large, in the last couple of weeks that just can't be ignored and shouldn't be ignored, just because of everything that is going on with it, and the backlash towards Mattel and Hasbro, and just everything that's been going on. But yeah, guys, Haida says, input, I'm lucky to have made the stream. Man, I'm glad that you made it. It's always a pleasure seeing you guys in chat. Timmy says, I'm going to make some popcorn. Definitely do it, man. And Oracle, keep. If you guys are late to the show, you guys will totally understand that when you guys...
That is my new catchphrase. I don't give a flying F. That is my new catchphrase. Keep.
But yeah, guys, just wanted to say thanks again, man. Tales from Teletraan. Really, honestly, is nothing without you guys and sitting there and listening and enduring the conversations, the rants on the best of episodes, on the worst of episodes, on the good ones, on the bad ones. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys.
I appreciate that y'all entertain my doll obsessions. If I'm being flat out honest, it's very hard to find people who are not, especially since I'm not a Transformers fan. So I truly do appreciate it that y'all sit here and listen to me rant about dolls for a little bit.
Ninja Bill says he might be bringing back Ninja Bill and Friends as well. Do it, man. Do it. But yeah, again, guys, like I said, from the bottom of my heart, absolutely thank you guys. And I don't usually close out the show. Very rarely do I do that, but I think I'm going to do it this time and just say one more time, thank you guys. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. Really, honestly, the most important thing. I'd hate to see anything happen to you guys. But yeah, take care of yourself and take care of each other. And yeah, that's all I got. See you guys Wednesday for the news, and see you guys next Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, for Tales from Teletraan.